Morning, ladies, and to the one gentleman in the room. How are you this morning? Welcome again to our JBDC virtual, or I'm sorry, our JBDC gift and craft biz zone. It's actually two different things. The virtual biz zone happens on a Tuesday, and the gift and craft biz zone happens on a Thursday. So right now we are in the gift and craft biz zone. So welcome. My name is Sansia Campbell, and I will be your host for this morning. Now, as you would know, the JBDC Gift and Craft Biz Zone began last year, September 2020 to be exact, following the launch of the National Craft Policy by the government of Jamaica. And the policy aims to streamline the craft industry by facilitating both small and significant improvements in quality, variety, value, sales, customer satisfaction, and profits in order to build brand Jamaica. Since the commencement of these webinars, we have successfully engaged with our gift and craft entrepreneurs through a series of presentations and panel discussions on topics including trends in accessory design, protecting your creativity, using cultural influences to inspire design, and we've also looked at global trends in support of the successful development of the industry here in Jamaica. And this morning, we're going to continue on that trajectory. We are going to be doing a presentation on converting our natural resources to fashion statements. And as you know, Jamaica is rich in natural resources. Our presenter this morning is Miss Donna-Gay Uter, and she is a product development officer here at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Ms. Uter is a creative and a graduate of the of the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. Among her designs are jewelry pieces made from everyday items, including precious stones, metal, and leather. And she also uses leather, among other materials, to create fashionable accessories. So she is well poised to provide you with the information on using natural resources to make those beautiful items that you want to wear, whether it is that you're going to wear them for yourself or you're going to start a business. It's a lucrative business because a lot of persons are actually now looking at how they can do DIY, do stuff themselves, and then see what can come of it. So I invite you to just sit back, relax, and listen to Miss Yuta this morning. Feel free to participate. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat and we'll address them as they come up. Otherwise, we'll take them at the end of the presentation. So at this time, I'll hand over to Miss Yuta and then we'll come back with the question and answer segment. Over to you, Donna Gay.
All right. Thank you for having me, Sensia. Welcome, everyone. All right. I am glad to be here. It's a topic that I have been waiting a long time to explore with persons, and now this is an opportunity for us to start. So, the topic is converting natural resources into fashionable accessories. All right. So, with me, I have a presentation that I'll be able to walk through while I'm able to speak with you. All right, so when we speak about converting natural resources, we're talking about the things that are in our environment, the different found object, recycled object, anything that you can think of, from a plant to scraps, metal, anything that can come to mind. And Jamaica has a lot of that. Now, for us to kind of consider it, what is it that we really want persons to understand? We have a wide market, and we have a lot of designers that are out there that are very creative, and once they have the opportunity to find the things that are in their environment, they can put them to use. Now, what is it that we are familiar with? We have our coconut shells, we have our nuts and our beads, we have our wood, our driftwoods, we have stones. There's a lot of things. On my first slide, I'm actually showcasing ideas of how persons have utilized the coconut shell worldwide. So it's not Jamaica alone, but other persons out there has dominated the market utilizing their craft and their skills in different areas. Now on my slide, I have bags that are actually made from the coconut shells. We have the coconut shell being weaved as a neck piece. It has been used as buttons for fashion accessories for garments. We also have where persons have used the colors to incorporate in the finished product. One of our local designer, Inspire 365, they have dominated the use of our coconut shell to make them be transformed. Now, in their case, they have incorporated metal, bronze metal, in order to give you more appealing, more trendy, the use of colors, the dynamic and the versatility of how that coconut shell is being utilized. A lot of persons out there may be wondering, how is it that persons come up with these things? Is it really coconut? Well, the answer is yes. When you're able to move something from the norm, a piece of coconut shell that is in the yard, and you can take it, and once you clean it off and bring it over to another person that is able to transform it into a finished product, then we're talking about the value chain in of our jewelry pieces and our fashion and accessory stuff going up. So no longer persons can say, oh, we're limited in terms of what our hands can go on. We have a lot of things out here to offer, and a lot of people are there that is curious enough to hold on to what we have as design pieces. So again, in this slide, I'm showcasing a collection from Inspire 365. Now, my next slide is showing persons how to use the seashells, the seeds, the jute tears, how to use their seashells, incorporating with metal wires to actually give you more of a high-end, more elegant finish in terms of their found object. Now, this is showing you that we're capable walking on the sand, finding our shells. They are at the end most high-end quality that you can ever look at. No longer would you be looking and throwing out seashells or stuff. Now is the time for you to go out there and start exploring. We have on this slide where persons have used gold paint to kind of bring it out, to kind of show you the difference. They have used the wire, the chains and stuff to kind of add more value to the look, to the high-end quality that we're looking for. Jewelry is not about just taking up something and putting a hole in it or putting a string on it. It's about carrying it up to the notch, creating another appearance that persons can utilize and wear on a fashionable background. All right. This is one that we're familiar with. A lot of persons will go on the street and see persons utilizing their cow horns, their nuts, their jewel tears. How is it that we're able to move from what its original stage is? Once you're able to mix and blend different materials, then we're creating a more conceptualized product. So we're bringing it from what the normal stage of a seashell maybe or a nut maybe, and we're able to carry them through different stages. Now we have products here from local designers as well, where they have incorporated using of beads, seeds, stones, and stuff like that in order to carry out the finished product. All right. The whole difference with what a bead is like without using hearing loops or wire on it. We're able to see what it is like when persons add and mix other mediums to give a full appeal. Now on this page I have wood, the using of driftwood, the use of just about anything from your backyard. These designers have used resin to incorporate in their collection to allow you to see beyond what it is once you're able to clean up that driftwood, add your pearls and your wires to it, bring your chains in, allowing you to have a different sense and appreciation for the materials that are in our environment. So this was taken from actually a designer overseas, and we have seen where a lot of Jamaican jewelers have started incorporating the use of resin into their mixed medium. Here we also have another setting where persons actually use the wood itself along with the same resin to create the rings. They have done it with earrings. They have incorporated other wooden beads along in order to give a more appealing in terms of finished product. So in fact, we do have the resources. We are in fact converting what we have here in order to create that finished product, in order to be a part of that market, in order to be first, to be trending. Okay, so outside of jewelry, what are some of the other things that people have used natural resources to do? We have the weaving of the basket finish bags and hats. All right, so this is another way that we are utilizing what we have in our environment and how we can create a finished product by adding leather, by adding fabric and different mixed medium to give another visual appeal. All right, so let me go back a little to talk about utilizing what we have. In terms of finding objects in our environment, there are a lot of situations where persons tend to say they're limited in terms of what they need and how they can go about it. Designers on a whole, when they look at it, there's a say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. In this case, Inspire 365 went ahead and they started collecting their coconut shells. They sat down and decide, what is it that we can do that persons can look at and appreciate what we have in our culture. Now, with her being exposed to what we have in our surrounding, she went ahead and she incorporated our brass metal in order to give you that visual appeal, taking it up a notch to make it be more functional in a way to adore the body itself. We are appreciating the use of the skills that persons have once they're able to put something out there. Products are actually speaking for itself. Looking at some of the materials that we have the bamboo, we have the wood, we have the stones, we have the driftwoods, we have the seeds. These are things that we have in our environment that are being utilized. So I'm encouraging persons out there who have the idea to do something and feel that they're limited in terms of what they have in their surrounding. Start looking, start going out there, start collecting your coconut shells, start going on the beach to pick up your pieces of driftwood, your glass beads and your shells. Start collecting those, and the minute you start, you're able to put things together. You're able to start conceptualizing the ideas that you want. So we here at JBDC are encouraging persons to stop limiting your mindset, to stop thinking that you cannot do or you cannot create or you cannot design anything. There are so many things out there. There are so many options out there for you to go into. All right, so my first page has actually shown you how persons have used the coconut shell, breaking it down to actually make into shapes where persons have actually drilled holes into them and make them be buttons. I mean, there's so many things behind that. How it is visually when you're starting putting your wires on them, your chains on them. They're no longer the ordinary shells in the yard. All right. Persons actually use resin colors and dyes in another format in order to create color on the natural product itself. So we are no longer saying this is an ordinary shell. These are being converted from the existence of what we're familiar with. All right, another slide here that we spoke on that I can go into more is the using of actually the seashells, where you have incorporated your actual metal skills. So in the one of the images, we're actually seeing where persons have used the silver to make a ring, and at the same time it can be bundled. So what they have done is cast their molds into whatever shape they want, and then they have finished it by adding their shells onto it. We see where persons have actually drilled into the shells itself to actually set stones where they have weaved their wires in order to have different finishing. So they can be used as loop for earrings, they can use for pendants, they can use for heirlooms. There's a lot of things that you can actually create in terms of product by using the simple seashells. There's also an image of the jute tears where persons have actually made them into a bracelet. Now, thinking about what a jute tears is, you're passing and there's a lot of weeds out there, there's a lot of seeds. There's a lot of seeds out there where you actually can drill them once they're preserved in the right way. Then you can actually start stringing them. You can actually go about adding other mediums to it in order to make them look more appealing visually. All right, and also make them feel more eye-hand by the type of finishing that you're able to put on them. All right, this slide now we are looking at the cow horn, typical cow horn, where persons have actually sand, polish, and be able to bring out the natural loss into the material. So Jamaica do have a lot of cows where the horns are being disposed of at the end, and this is something now that you can dive into. You can actually get yourself into starting exploring, even if you're not the one who are going to bring it from the raw product to the finish. You can actually go ahead and get persons to kind of finish them in the proper way. We at JBDC have Incubator where we can provide you with the guidance if it is that you want to actually learn how to actually make the product from start to finish. We encourage persons to utilize recycling materials that they can actually put their hands on, and this can reduce their expense. Now, buying things in bulk, so like your seeds and your sea stones, bringing them together, and we can be able to help you to understand how to actually mix these mediums. You have persons that are into more natural flowing products, so you have where you don't need to actually bring in your glass beads and stuff to it. You can actually learn how to drill them and actually connect them using just fishing lines and basic wires. Okay, all right, the resin itself, we normally encourage persons to import some of these items. Now, compare what you can find in your environment. So, like the pieces of wood and so forth, where you can bring them in, get somebody to sand them, polish them down in order for you to utilize them. Once you have them in that raw stage, you're sort of looking at them and not seeing what the beauty of the product, the end product can be. So, we are encouraging you to start looking and choosing the things that may seem limited, or that persons might think that there's nothing behind them. There are a lot of things once you're creative enough to start thinking and seeing outside of the norm. We encourage you to do so. All right. There's also a picture here of a person using a driftwood as a pendant. What they have done is merging the metal and the pearl to kind of make it seems different, to make you wonder if it's actually driftwood. No, this is a basic, and there's not a lot that you need to learn in order to do that. Wire wrapping is something that comes free with the mind. So you can start collecting your driftwoods, you can start putting out your little things, you get your little tools, and you sit down, and we will be able to guide you once you're interested to start. All right, this is very common on our market. With the using of the wood and the coconut beads as well is another thing that persons are actually utilizing. Cutting your woods into shape. One of the easiest thing is by going to the wood workshops, start collecting your scrap woods, put them down. When you're ready, there are different ways that you can go about designing. You can actually wrap your wires on them to make them seem and appear different. These are basic things that you can actually convert your product to make them be more fashionable, more wearing for a lot of things. They can go with a lot of things, even the bags, the clothes, the things that you can wear on your hair. All right, so these are some stuff that we have. Also, persons have gone ahead and used the wood to actually make wooden beads. So you can cut them into shapes, you can pierce them, you can add them with other accessories to kind of make them appear different. All right, so the straw weaving is another way that you can even, this basic shape with the bag itself, just imagine it being woven into that same circular shape and on it, you can actually weave your stones. You can actually sew different things onto it and make them of smaller side. Now these can actually become your pendants. They can be used as brooch. All right. So there's a lot of things that we do have here in Jamaica. We have the opportunity to go online to see what other persons have in terms of concept building. There are so many ideas out there that you can actually pull together and start using. All right, so we're not limited in terms of our resources. There's so much. Just need to start giving yourself the chance. Take a walk, look around your environment, start collecting the things that you can get your hands on. All right, you probably your neighbor has things in their yard that they will throw away. You just go out and start doing your research. All right, so I will be opening for questions.
All right, thank you so much, Donna-Gay, for sharing that bit of information with us in terms of the different materials that can be used. Um, I'm just wondering if anyone in the chat has any questions or any comment. Uh, Here is a question from Camille. Great presentation. Are there any restrictions to the amount or types of raw materials we can collect at beaches and rivers? That's a great question.
All right, so there's not really any restriction in terms of what you can pick up because usually you'll find the seashell, nobody is gonna come and tell you not to take up, right? The only issues that we may have in terms of the sea is removing the sand itself. So the seashells and the driftwoods are usually what is being washed up on the shores. Those are things that you can look at. We're not telling you to go and get the coral reef because we know that is legal in Jamaica. So with your being on your safeguard, you can actually go on our website and look at the different things that Jamaica restrict persons from removing from the sea. But the
Right.
seashells and the driftwoods and the glass beads are there's no limit on those.
Okay. I noticed that you mentioned about sand, and I know that I have seen designs that incorporate the use of sand. I guess they would have to go buy that from a dealer, somebody that.
All right. All right. So in to answer that question, if you normally if you go to the sea, the beach itself, right? You're wearing your sandals, you're carrying your towel. By the time you reach home, you're finding sand and stuff in your clothing, right?
Okay.
So we're not when I said not to remove sand, I mean don't go with a truckload to kind of go and take up the people the sand itself. All right. So you take things with discretion. Also, we do have online stores that actually sell craft sand itself. So if it is that you need to get some of these sands and stuff, you can actually buy them online if you know you're gonna be taking a whole leap,
All
right?
right, great. Couple more questions coming up. The questions are popping up now. Theresa Gaynor, thank you. I learned a lot today. My question is, how do we properly treat beads and seeds?
All right, so once you have actually picked them, there's a saying you actually pick things during moon time. I don't really moonshine. I've never gone outside in the night to try to pick anything off tree. But what I learned from that is when you pick them at a certain time of the evening or so, then you limit the amount of insect that may be festing on them. So once you're able to remove these seeds itself, you put them down for a period of time to allow them to cure. So I don't know if persons have actually gotten natural seeds where they have bought and put down for a while, and then when you go back, you see they're actually shelling out. It would be good for you to actually treat the seeds itself in order to prevent insects from actually entering inside where you have drilled that hole. And once you have sealed them, you can actually use your lacquer and your varnish and stuff to kind of seal the holes once you drill them. Now, with that now you can incorporate them with your actual more say more fine and jewelry beads and stuff in order to give them more of a visual appeal, more bring them up the notch to make them be appeal to be high end.
Okay, great. From Lisa Calendar, interesting presentation. How do you suggest we preserve the seeds, and also what kind of tooling is required to work with them? And as she brought up the tools, I think it's very important that if you could share a little bit about the different types of tools that persons will need to work on designs using this type of material.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lisa, for that question. All right. So, different ways that you can go about curing the seeds itself. Once you pick them down, they'll pick them from the tree, they'll actually be green. What you can do is you can lay them out flat away from, sometimes you can actually leave them in the sun so that they can dry, or you can put them in a room that is not as moist so that they can hair dry by itself. So the longer period it takes to dry, then the less problems you'll have. What you can do now is use your drill. You can get your jewelry drill. If you don't, JBDC Incubator has that. You can come and you can utilize those. So I'll encourage persons to get drills. You can get your starters kit. It comes with your pliers, which is your flat nose, your round nose, your bird beak. Once you have those, then those are the basic that you'll need. The next step is actually buying your wires. Right? Once you have decided what the designs may be and what the different type of materials you want to incorporate with it. So we'll encourage you to, again, we're limited in terms of certain type of things. Persons have the opportunity to bring them in, so you can shop online to get your materials and stuff like that. However, you have copper wires out here that you can find. You can go to the electrical stores and you can buy those. You can utilize your copper sheet. We have stores out here that sell shingles. You can buy those as well, and you can incorporate them along with what you want to create as a product.
All right, so I noticed that you mentioned the JBDC incubator and the fact that persons can come in and utilize the space. But in light of what's happening with COVID, are there any restrictions on numbers, or how would it work now that COVID is happening?
Okay, all right. So we do have, in terms of guidelines, would encourage persons, if you're planning on using the incubator, to make appointments ahead of time so that we can control the crowd. For our incubator space, usually we recommend, say, at this time, two persons can actually utilize the space at one given time. We also have certain rules that would encourage persons. So if you don't have certain tools, we'll ask you prior in time so that we can prepare them in hand, so that when you come, these are what we give you. We encourage you that you sanitize as you go. So we're still following the guideline in terms of what is happening with COVID.
And what about the cost to use the
Right.
incubator?
So to use the incubator per day, it is only 750 Jamaican dollars. If
What?
you're, yes, yes, below $1,000,
750?
$750 per day.
Okay.
So yes, you can save that up. And if you're planning on utilizing our jewelry section, which includes the torch and the oxygen and stuff like that, no, we'll say $1,000 to cover the entire day itself. So you can actually start making your budget.
And will they be able to access support from the officers who are on location in the incubator? So say for example, I am there and I'm making something and whatever, and I have a little difficulty. Can I like call on a Donna-Gay and say, can you help me with this? And it won't cost me any more than
Most definitely. We
wow.
were supposed to be providing technical assistance. Once a person come to utilize a space, we'll actually have a one-on-one sit down with them first to find out what is it that they can do by themselves. In order for us to know how to provide the further assistance, we'll try to find out from you what is it that you're planning on doing on that particular day in terms of a product itself. What is it that you have not used before in terms of the things that we have in the incubator? So what we'll do is take you to the incubator, show you the tools and the equipments that we have there, and then we'll be able to understand what you're capable of doing. Now, when it comes on to you actually drafting your product itself, itself, then there's always an officer there that you can call. We'll be able to come and provide you with guidance in terms of you using the tools and the equipment that we may have in the incubator. Also, if you have run into difficulty while producing something, yes, we're right there. You can come and ask us, you can call us, and we'll be able to sit, work with you, and show you things in order to make your work a little better.
Wonderful. It is great to know that there are still organizations out there fulfilling the mandate to really support our micro and small producers. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here is a great opportunity for me to invite you. I'm extending an invitation. If it is that you are a jewelry producer, or you can utilize any of the products, any of the material rather, that Donna-Gay has highlighted this morning, and you don't have the space but you want to produce, it's only $750 for a day. Imagine what you can do if you book a week and you produce all you need to produce, and then you go out there in the marketplace and get the stuff out, and then we can come again. All right, so next question from Sharoda Hamilton. Where can I purchase resin in Jamaica?
Right. We have Jamaica Fisherman Corp. They carry resin, but if you want to do your craft, you have Ligani Jug and Garden. You have Sana Studio. So you can actually go in and talk to them. If they don't have it directly, you can make arrangements for them to bring it in for you. We also encourage persons, if it is a case where you need to use a lot, then you can actually buy your materials on Amazon or eBay. So they are out there. We're just not having persons out here that is going to bring in a lot of things because they're not sure how fast they will go off the shelves.
Right, right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're just saying that, JBDC prides itself on being a network broker. If it is that there is anything that you need to support you in getting your product to market, whether it's identifying a piece of material, or identifying a supplier, or identifying a location, market access, whatever it is. JBDC, if we do not have the resources in-house, we have the connections. So make contact with us and get it done, because this is the year in which we are going to achieve all of those goals that 2020 um, told us that we couldn't achieve. So everything that we said we couldn't do, 2020 said that we couldn't do, we're gonna prove 2020 wrong in 2021, right? So Carla was asking, does the JBDC sell these tools and pliers and any material? I doubt that.
No, we don't. But we encourage persons to check local suppliers. So for your pliers kits or your starters kit for beadings and stuff, you have Ligani Jug and Garden, you have Sauna Studio, you also have Art and Craft Studio in Half a Tree. So there are places around that may be carrying in maybe limited things, but they do have stuff that you can work with.
Wonderful. All right. So I see that there are no additional questions, but I will tell you that the presentations for those persons that came in a bit late, because I saw that Marcia was indicating that she missed the first part of the presentation. This presentation will be available on our YouTube channel at JBDC Jamaica. You can go on to YouTube, search for JBDC Jamaica, and click the notifications button, so that when the episode is uploaded, you will be able to have access to it. As a reminder, our JBDC offices remain open. We are open from 8:30 to 4 from Monday to Thursday, and 8:30 to 3 uh, on a Friday. If you need to come in and speak with any of our officers, because it's COVID time, we encourage you to either send an email, info@jbdc.net, and it will be redirected to the correct individual, or give us a call at 876-928-5161, and it goes up to 5. That's 876-928-5161, and it goes up to 5. If you need to contact any of our locations across the island, if you make contact with us via our switchboard 876-928-5161 to 5, we will direct you to the correct person. Alethea is asking how soon after we make an appointment for JBDC to assess our products are we contacted. That is dependent, I think, largely on the number of appointments that would have been set prior to you making that assessment. All right, so Alita, I'm going to ask you to send me that information via email. My email address is scampbell@jbdc.net, and I will investigate it for you and get back to you. I'm typing my email address in the chat. So you can just drop me that email. Just let me know what the products are that you need to have assessed and who you spoke to when you visited the office on those two occasions, and I will ask that individual to get back to you. So thank you once again, Donna-Gay, for sharing with us this morning. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having joined us this morning. We return tomorrow at midday with our entrepreneur's journey. We're going to be featuring Joanne Morris from Rachel Lane, and she's one of our creatives as well. And then come next week, Tuesday, we are back with the virtual biz zone, and Thursday with the gift and craft biz zone. So once again, my name is Sansia Campbell. Thank you for having joined us, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.